This is a quick video I've been meaning to do for a while. I've got a couple of friends who are going through difficult times at the moment, have maybe been faced with, let's just say, a catalogue of adversity. And it's always interesting at those really tricky life moments or huge stress tests to know how to handle them. I think as humans, we often have a natural propensity to want to resist pain, to think that negative emotions are bad. And cheesy as it sounds, it's really important to feel in order to heal. In other words, to do the opposite of what our sort of more kind of manned up, brave selves feel we should be doing. Feeling also often requires that tricky thing of stopping and being truly present and kind of letting the floodgates open. And that can be hard for all of us. I think it's hard for men, much as ladies bang on about how much harder it is being women. And I appreciate it is in some ways if we're often the primary carers of children, etc. But I think men have their own challenges. It's obviously pretty hard being sort of brought up to believe that you're weak for feeling emotions, slash cripplingly disabling, hence the high suicide rates amongst men. And by high, I mean way higher than women, like 75%. So it's a cheesy point, but there really is purpose in pain for those brave enough to look for it. Whether you have a growth mindset and you become more comfortable with looking for the opportunity in the problem, which I find a massive lifesaver and hugely helpful at any/every stressful moment in life. It doesn't mean that you're fearless. I always find it irritating if people have said to me, "You're so fearless, wow." Well, no, I'm not fearless. I feel fear all the freaking time, just like everyone else. I've just learned some helpful growth mindset tools to help me move through fear and kind of, sounds cheesy, but kind of make fear my friend. Like, unless it's the kind of fear that follows you down an alleyway, it's probably the growth kind of fear. So you might feel sick leaning into that, whether it's being brave, going to an event on your own, taking a new job that might feel a bit of a stretch, but often on the other side is growth and a greater feeling of abundance and success. So coming back to the purpose in pain point, this is why it's really important to pause if we can, at really challenging life moments and to feel in order to heal. So to kind of stop, to slow down and to let the floodgates open, whether it's lying in bed and crying, if you've suffered a loss, whether it's journaling that out, really trying to get out the kind of savagery, the intensity of what you're feeling, whether it's talking to a therapist or really good friends who are great listeners. It might also be that you find more sort of release in somatic practices like yoga or breath work, things that connect with the body and give expression of emotion through the body. For some people, speaking or talking it out isn't as helpful. Maybe for some guys out there, like going and doing boxing or going to the gym can be helpful. But remember, those negative emotions, they might feel bad or like that you should feel ashamed of feeling them or ever feeling that you're struggling. But there's no shame in that. We're all human and there is great beauty to be found in pain, cheesy as that sounds. And that's not just coming from someone who's had a charmed life, very lucky childhood-wise. But yeah, I've definitely had some real moments of adversity, which I probably wouldn't share completely openly on here. But yes, adversity has been my greatest teacher, whether losing my brother years ago or going through some, quite big heartbreaks, which many of us have been through. That's where I've learned and developed the clarity needed to make much more aligned decisions that will be for my greater good, whether in careers or love, where I live or otherwise. I wouldn't have gained any of that clarity or wisdom without real moments of pain at times, I remember being in Cape Town, being really honest, and spending many Saturdays sobbing in bed. I mean, literally for 3 months straight, trying to get my head around an ex who was more complex than the average Rubik's Cube. That was very, very challenging, and it really tested my kind of higher self and intellect and hopefully quite evolved levels of emotional intelligence. It was still very testing. Am I better for having learnt those things? Absolutely. Has it helped my clients a lot more than it would have done otherwise? Hugely. Will it inform more aligned romantic choices? Well, I hope so. We can only hope. But it's very true what Byron says. Adversity really is the path to truth. Cheesy as that sounds, there's great wisdom to be found in it. So if you're really going through it, try and do the opposite of what your monkey mind might tell you. Try and slow down and feel to heal. If you're struggling to connect with that emotion, you can also kind of lead with the body. Ask yourself, if my stress could speak, what would it say? If my body could speak, what does it need? What's it trying to express? It might just be that you come up with a feeling from your gut saying, I just don't give a shit about work. I just want to lock myself in my room for a week and not see anyone that's cutting through to the truth. So don't try and work out the learnings straight away. Try and feel first. Forget about the learnings when you're in deep grief or loss, or heartache or overwhelm. You know, you just need to feel it first and like kind of vomit it out, before you can kind of get the kind of space to find the learning or the wisdom in that challenge. Then once you've sort of got a bit more, I guess, sense of stability back, what I've always found helpful is then gently reconnecting to my values. So we all have 8 to 12 core values. It's like a synonym for your needs or drivers. In essence, when we're connected to our values and we know what those are, we feel all the good stuff. We feel peaceful, motivated, like ourselves, sometimes excited, sometimes, yeah, sort of often our most magnetic selves when we're connected with those values. When we're disconnected with those, we feel drained, confused, flat, bored, out of sorts. So often, I'm sure we can all relate to this, if you're feeling weird, like one day in the week, let's say you work from home, you might think, why do I feel weird? What's wrong with me? And then you check that against your values and you think, oh, I love variety. When was the last time I got out and worked in different places? Oh, a week. Okay. Oh, I love meeting new people. When was the last time I was connecting with people or meeting new people? Oh, I haven't done that for about 3 weeks. Well, makes sense. You're feeling a bit off then, doesn't it? Oh, I normally go to the gym regularly, but I haven't been for 5 days. So all that stuff, all those disconnects from your values can leave you feeling very drained and off and out of sorts. So once you've kind of got over the kind of worst part of any pain or adversity you're going through and worked out what some of the learnings are to try and reframe it positively, then start gently trying to reconnect with those values of yours. Sometimes a nice place to start is that idea of motion equals emotion, as Tony Robbins says, whether it's going, to the gym, going for a walk, just getting the blood pumping. It can often dislodge you into a different, more positive state. Don't wait to feel ready to take that action. You want to feel like healed enough, obviously to kind of go outside essentially. But sometimes just going and sitting, overlooking the ocean or the mountains, if you're energized by nature, can be enough to give you that little dose of hope back that you're looking for, or to reconnect you to yourself, and even to shift you from a state of feeling quite down to feeling quite inspired and hopeful and positive. So don't underestimate the vitality of connecting with your values. It's absolutely key, whether day to day in optimizing your well-being and happiness, or in big decisions you make. Is this person right for me? Romantically, is this place the right place to live geographically? Is this career aligning with deeper values? Like, for example, a role might be great, but the people might be, I was going to say a rude word, not great. So that might really disconnect you from some other leading values of yours. If, say, meeting new people or connecting with like-minded people is an important goal. It's like if you take a job in a really lovely place, but there's no opportunity to innovate, and innovation is important to you, that's going to feel off. So those would be my top tips for moving through adversity in a realistic and helpful way.